Hello everyone, hope you are doing well. So we just got the third episode of Loki and I have to be completely honest, I just wasn't really a fan of this episode. It felt really filler to me and a little bit like a bad British comedy. Now in terms of the positives from this episode, the opening sequence with Sylvie / Lady Loki / Enchantress going into the mind of the TVA soldier I thought was really cool, and the confrontation at the TVA headquarters was really great too. The interactions between the two Loki variants was alright, but it just could have been so much better, especially when we've only got 6 episodes in this entire series and this episode is claimed to be about character development. They just could have gone into it so much deeper and in such a better way. I mean, the discussion over the definition of what love means I thought was pretty interesting. The revelation that Loki is officially bisexual I think is really progressive and something that is actually pretty comics accurate as well. And the revelation that the TVA aren't that honest and in fact their soldiers and workers are compliant variants I thought was pretty shocking, but actually it was something that we predicted all the way back from episode 1. Sylvie screaming her rage towards the end of the episode to vent and handle her emotions more effectively I thought was really fascinating. Now in terms of the negatives, the locations that they went to I just thought were so bland. Now I know it was an apocalyptic type of location, but it just felt very CGI heavy and not Marvel at its best. Also, the characters they met there were just not interesting in the slightest. Now, Sylvie also is just not as awesome as Loki, Wanda, or other Marvel characters yet. Even though they're different characters, I actually much preferred Morgan Le Fay, who was played by Liz Hurley in Marvel's Runaways, the TV series, as she was so layered, really dark, really damaged, really driven. In terms of who Sylvie actually is, I get the impression that she is a future variant of the Loki character that didn't want to be Loki the God of Mischief anymore and then gender changed to the Sylvie character. That's why she wasn't that impressed with his drinking on the train and his general attitude and approach to things as well. She's clearly been through a lot and is now a lot more action first than talking first. In terms of the new timeline of this series that is creating, I'm sure that she'll officially go on to become the Enchantress in the MCU. Also, the fight sequences in this episode felt really choreographed, especially on the train and at the end of the episode as well. Speaking of the ending, it was just so sudden and abrupt, but not in a way that the cliffhanger felt really exciting or jaw-dropping like previous episodes and previous shows have been. I get that they were trying to do a lot more character development in this episode, and I am the biggest fan of really delving deep into the psyche of characters. I just thought that with this episode they could have just done it in a much better way. You know, that being said though, Tom Hiddleston himself did say that from episode 4 onwards things really do go crazy, so hopefully from next week onwards it will return back to its roots and become the MCU at its best, which I cannot wait for. Until then though, I'd love to hear from you. How did you find this week's episode? Did you agree or disagree with what I thought of this week's episode? Otherwise, I look forward to catching you in my next video. Bye everyone.